All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today, all family members and guests. We're excited that you are here to attend our next session on academic success, academic advising and success. I am Marquise McGee, Director of University Advising, and I have my colleague here with me today as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Libby Wesley. I work in the University Career Center.
All right. And today our session, our goal is to focus on setting your students up for success by providing them with the tools and resources that they'll need in order to be the best student that they can be at JMU here. But first of all, we just want to congratulate you all on significant accomplishment of your students' life of making it to college and attending JMU. And we want to make sure that we provide information for you about your student and some of the information, some of the resources that we can provide for your students. So our agenda today, we'll cover JMU academics and advising. We'll also talk a little bit about how we prepare your students to be career ready, and then supporting your student as they transition from high school to JMU itself. Now, I know you probably are not able to put anything in the chat about how you're feeling today, but I hope that you all are excited that your students here and attending JMU. We'll be attending JMU officially in August. And also you might be nervous, a little antsy about your student being here as well. And that is perfectly normal to be excited and nervous or concerned at the same time. Our goal here as employees at JMU is to make sure your students have the resources and support that they need so that they can be successful here. So I'm going to talk about academics at JMU. And the first thing that I want to go over before I do that is to talk a little bit about another college student that had been here, not in this century, but 20th century. So we'll call this person 20th Century McGee. And 20th Century McGee, just like your student, arrived for orientation. That's actually a picture. And yes, that was a style back then with the hat to the back and the shades on. But arrived on campus at the top of the steps, ready to move on to orientation, and had brought everything that he wanted or planned on taking, as he was not planning to come back to go back home for some reason. But his perception of his family for that day was different than what it actually was. So to him, his dad said, "Good luck, buddy." Mom said, "Do the best you can." And his siblings were in the back of the van, sticking their tongues out, saying, "So long, sucker." That's not actually what happened. Dad said, "Good luck. We're proud of you. We know you can do your best." And Mom said, "We're very proud of you, and we know that you'll represent us well." And his siblings were actually crying in the back because they had no concept of college life. He also came to orientation with no actual classes at that time. So for your student, at least most of the students have a class schedule, a course schedule, but he was actually going off to sign up for classes at that time. Also working all your life to get to college, and now you made it, you accomplished your goal. So not really knowing what the next steps were. So no next steps, because the goal was just to make it to college at the time, but still had hopes and dreams about the future. One of the differences between 20th Century McGee and your student is, which you might have caught me, is I said that the family left off. And so somewhere in the 21st century, universities started to get it, like we need to involve the families. And so that's why you're part of the orientation now, because it's not just a student journey, it's your journey as family members, as ones to support your student. And so that's why we have orientation for family members, because things change. We know that things will change. Your student goes off to college, it changes the family dynamics. But then also they need to know they have a support system in place. They have us here, and we will serve as their extended family. So we hope that this will be a partnership between us two, you, the family member, and us, the faculty and staff here at JMU, to assist you on your journey, the student on a journey, and assist you on that journey as well. Your students, again, have signed up for classes. If they did not, do not worry. We have an enrollment management team that will help them to enroll in classes to at least get them to where they are full-time status today. They may not get what they want in terms of an ideal schedule, but they'll get what they need. So I want to share a little bit about how academic advising works at JMU. So each new student is assigned a first-year academic advisor, and that advisor is trained to help students with the transition from high school to JMU itself. They are also familiar with the curriculum and what the students need in order to have to start off well as they pursue their major and the goals of obtaining a degree. First year advisors consist of professional advisors. They also consist of faculty members within the departments. And then somewhere around the mid-February, they will transition to their major advisor. The major advisor, we consider the expert in the major, in the department. So they're very familiar with what the student needs in order to continue in the major. They are familiar with course sequencing, also opportunities for internships, research projects. But most importantly, we hope that your student will allow the major advisor to serve as a mentor to them for the next 3.5 years once they transition to the major advisor. Both of the types of advisors are there to support your student, there to guide them on their journey and meet them where they are at that particular point. So we do hope that your student will take advantage of asking questions, meeting with the first year advisor as well as a major advisor. I used to be a school counselor, so I'm familiar with the role of a school counselor, responsibilities. And one of the things that might have been different for your student this year than past years is actually enrolling in classes. So typically students in high school will tell or let the school counselor know which courses they need to take on a sheet of paper, and then the school counselor actually creates a schedule for them. At JMU, that's a lot different. At JMU, we actually have the students enroll in their classes themselves with the assistance of the first year advisor, as well as tutorials and other tools to aid them as they enroll in those classes. So for the advisor role, their role is to help students with planning their academic schedule, also the decision-making process of what they need to take, how this might affect the future courses that they need to take, answering any questions or concerns that they have about the curriculum, so general education to degree requirements. They'll also explain how students' academic sessions will affect their progress towards graduation, and discuss those academic choices with regards to their long-term academic and career goals that they have. And then last but not least, the advisor is there to serve, to help students identify other resources that are available on our campus as needed. So your student, if they truly take advantage of the wisdom and the resources that the advisor has to offer, then they should be asking all questions, any type of questions that may not be related to academics, but it might affect their academics. So we encourage students to ask when in doubt. Now, in terms of their academic journey, the academic requirements, it's a two-way role in terms of this relationship. So the student's role is to know the academic requirements. We know that not all of them will know it right now because they are new to it, but they need to start becoming familiar with those requirements. So the Gen Ed requirements, to the major and degree requirements they may have, and any other requirements that they have based on what they added to their major, such as a minor or pre-professional health program. If they've already chosen a major, we encourage students to start exploring their career options. We call that baby steps of greatness, where we start off with just small steps that they might take and leading up to having a clear idea of what they want to do once they leave here from JMU, rather than waiting until their senior year to start exploring what that looks like. And so they don't have to do it on day one or week one when they get here, but we want them to get started early in their starting their first year, rather than waiting until their senior year to do so. We also want them to understand and know what the preferred method of communication is for their advisor. Some advisors require you to make an appointment online with them. Others might say, here are my office hours, you can join me during this time. And then others might say that, to use a special platform in order to communicate with them. So I want to know what that preferred method of communication is with that. When they meet with their advisors, make sure they're prepared and organized. So, for example, if they were going to ask about classes, they might not be a good idea to say, what do I need to take next semester? Another way of saying that or doing that when they meet with their advisors is to say, oh, I've considered these classes that I want to take. Can you let me know if this is along the path of what requirements that I need in order to make progression? So that's a whole lot different. So come prepared, and then being able to ask questions if they don't know, even if they're like 90% sure that this is the right answer. I would double check with their advisors just to make sure. And then if they have any concerns, and that could be concerns that again are not directly related to academics, but indirectly related to their academics. And then hopefully you'll get a chance to take a snapshot of this or picture of this. This is the nuts and bolts of our curriculum here at JMU. And we look at a curriculum holistically. So we talk about the things that happen inside the classroom, but a lot of learning happens outside of the classroom as well. And so if you look at this pie chart here, you'll see that, of course, you might know the major requirements that are that students must complete, but there are also general education requirements. And that's about 41 credits out of the 120 credits that they must complete before they are able to obtain their degree. So that's a huge chunk of their curriculum. They also have degree requirements if they're pursuing a Bachelor of Fine Arts, a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Science, for example. There are certain courses they must take in order to meet those requirements for that particular type of degree. And then anything else that doesn't fall in that category is considered elective credit. So this pie chart might look different based on the major. If you're studio art, nursing major, or health sciences, then those electives might be a little smaller, a smaller piece of that pie chart, versus if you're a psychology, sociology major, or justice studies major, where you're going to have a lot more leeway. You probably could add a double major or minor if you choose to do so with that. We also know that there are 4 areas, or I should say areas, in which students continue to enhance their learning, and that's outside of the classroom. So we want to encourage them to be involved in extracurricular. We want them to be involved in service learning projects, community engagement projects, whether that's here or back at home or abroad as well. Student leadership roles, we encourage students to develop those skills or showcase those skills if they've already developed them prior to attending JMU. So for example, being an orientation leader is a great leadership role to take on, where they can showcase and develop those skills along the way. And then internship opportunities, which Libby will talk about in just a little bit. The other slide that I have here is just a breakdown of general education, and it's really to help family members to understand why certain courses on the schedule. For example, they might be studio art, and you see they're taking a science course, and you wonder why are they taking a science course when they're a studio art major. Chances are that it's a requirement that will meet the general education requirements. So here we call our general education requirements, we call them clusters. We have 5 clusters. And so if you think about the candy itself, those peanuts that are inside the candy represents the classes for that cluster. So students have a host of courses to choose from each cluster. And so just like 20th Century McGee, we have skills for the 21st century for students, learning how to, making sure that they know how to read, write, and communicate effectively as a college student. The other cluster is arts and humanities, which speaks for itself. The natural science world is science and math. And then, the natural world is science and math. The fourth cluster is social and cultural processes. And so that deals with global society as well as society in which we live here in the United States. And then individual in the human community focuses on how the individual affects our society and how society affects our the individuals, on top of health and wellness with that. So those are 5 categories. It's central to the JMU experience because you have a wealth of courses to choose from. Unlike in high school where students might have had English 3, English 3 AP, and then English honors as an option, they have multiple courses to choose from in each cluster to complete those requirements. And just to make a connection between 20th century and 21st century, as I did with the 20th century student and the 21st century student, your student, we have an economy in the 20th century that was based on the industrial economy, and that has transitioned now to the 21st century economy, which is based on knowledge, which is a lot based on knowledge base, or our knowledge based economy. So you can see evidence of that with things such as TikTok, which a lot of us are on quite a bit, learning something new. Also YouTube, LinkedIn learning. So that's just those are just examples of a knowledge-based economy. And so we have a survey here that you see before you of over 500 companies. Ask them what skills would they want their new employees to have. And these are examples of what those are. So being able to have sort of the breadth and depth. So they'll get the breadth in the general education courses, and they'll get the depth in the major courses while they're here at JMU. You'll see communication is always key in working in the industry, any industry, and in those experiences. If they can have those experiences that kind of set them apart from other employees, then that's a value to these employers that were surveyed. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that we live in a society now where maybe 20 or 30 years ago, you work to get a job and you stay there for 20, 30 years and then retire. There was a survey that was out for individuals who had a 4-year degree. And what we found out is by the time they were 39, they had 10 to 14 jobs in that time frame. And so no longer is the working at the same place for 20, 30 years. It could happen, but it's rare nowadays. And so we're preparing your students to be able to adapt in that type of environment where they can showcase their skills that they learned here. But then there's some skills that will cross the actual fields. They may change fields during their lifetime of work. And so we call those transferable skills. So skills, no matter what industry you go into, these are skills that are really good to have. And they will attain that here at JMU if they take advantage, again, of the classroom, but then also those experiences they have outside of the classroom themselves. This is what will be going on later today. Your student will be meeting with their first year advisor, and the first year advisor will be getting a chance to know them. They'll go over some of the content related to gender education. They'll go over specific major information that they need to know. If your student is undecided, undeclared, or they're still exploring, they're meeting with their exploratory advisor, who is considered their first year advisor as well. And they'll continue to, throughout the semester, explore options that they have before making a decision on what they would major in. The advisor will also talk about transitioning to JMU. So things that they need to be aware of as they transition from high school and start attending JMU in August. And then they'll have a couple of activities they'll do to get to know the advisor as well as their peers during that session. And last but not least, each advisor will go over the schedule, each of the students' schedule, and make sure that they have the courses that they need If they don't have some of the courses they need and they can fix it themselves, they'll tell them what to sign up for. If they need to make some changes that require attention, or maybe they didn't sign up for any classes today, then the advisor will refer them to our enrollment management link, if you will, a room to get assistance and enroll in those classes. They'll still be enrolling in those classes themselves, but we'll be there online assisting them and guiding them through the process today. So that's what will be going on today. We do encourage family members to not attend the session because that is strictly for the student and the actual first year advisor. It also helps the other students to feel more comfortable knowing that it's just them, the students, and the first year advisor. Same thing with the enrollment lab. We want to make sure that enrollment lab team member is focusing and working with the student rather than working with the family member. So please encourage you to allow them to be a part of the process so they'll be familiar with it the next time they enroll in classes in the future as well. All right, we're going to transition where Libby's going to talk about how to get your student to be career ready.
Thanks, Marquise. Hello again, everyone. My name is Libby Wesley. I serve in the director role in the University Career Center. Just a little bit about me, I'm a JMU alum, so I'm hoping there's some JMU parents and family members listening there. So JMU was a great experience when I was here as a student, and I can assure you that it's even better. So thrilled that your students will be joining us for the next couple of years. Just to give you a little bit of information about what we do in the University Career Center, we want to help students from the time they enroll all the way through to graduation. Marquise, can you flip the slide there? I don't have the clicker on this one, so I'm going to have to rely on Marquise. So we help students from the time they enroll all the way through to graduation, and we want to help students be able to articulate what's important for people to know about them. What are their skills? What are their career interests? What are their values? And when they know those things, then we need to help them know what kinds of occupations are out there that their interests, values, and skills might be a match for. For students who have no idea what they want to do, we have a couple of assessments that we use in the office that can often give them some clarity that way. So we help students articulate things about themselves that are relevant and set goals related to their career plans. That's part one of what we do. Another part of what we do is develop a network of people who know about the talent that JMU provides. And that network could be family members, it could be parents, faculty, staff, employers, recruiters for graduate programs. And so these are people who know about JMU and know and have opportunities for our students. So if you recruit for your organization or interns or full-time employees, we'd be happy to connect with you in the Career Center. So you can send a message to me later. You'll see the contact information further on, but we're always trying to kind of grow that network. We work with students one-on-one and in small groups. You can see some of the workshop topics on the screen here. We have events that go on throughout all semester, usually a couple a week. We also create opportunities for students to access that network. A couple of those examples are career fairs or networking events. We'll also bring in employers and alums to do resume reviews or mock interviews with students. And of course, we have employers come on campus to interview for internships and jobs. All right, what I want to spend most of our time together on this afternoon is going over the 5 ways that your student can be career ready. I love this slide. You'll also find that at the webpage on the QR code for this. So you can take a picture of this, or since it's being recorded, you'll probably be able to see it online. But these are 5 ways for your student, 5 action steps that your student can take to be career ready. And so now I'll kind of go through each of those 5 one by one and give you some more details about that. So the first thing that we want students to do to be career ready is to activate their Handshake profile. And when they activate their Handshake profile and complete it, they're going to be telling the Career Center some information about themselves. So the information they'll be sharing are things like what industries they're interested in, what are some of the job functions that they think are appealing, where geographically do they want to be, what kinds of opportunities are they looking for, jobs, internships, or graduate programs. And so in the University Career Center, we can use this information then to make sure that our network of people and job and internship and graduate school opportunities match the interest of our students. Your student can go in and change their Handshake profile as many times as they want, and we do want them keeping that up to date. We'll also use the information in the Handshake profile to send students targeted emails. And of course, if their profile doesn't reflect their true interest, the emails they get from the Career Center are not going to be as appealing to them. Inside of Handshake are all of the jobs and internship opportunities that we have. And when people post these positions in Handshake, they are particularly selecting James Madison University. So they are interested in JMU talent particularly. So Handshake is a great resource for students to access the JMU talent network, talent request network. Inside of Handshake, students can also see details, dates, times, locations for all of the events that we have going on in the University Career Center, including career fairs, campus interviews, and students can also sign up for individual appointments that way as well. So the first thing we want students to do is to activate their Handshake profile. They can actually do that today. So if they go to that jmu.joinhandshake.com website, they can complete those steps. All right, the second way for your student to be career ready, we want them scheduling at least one individual appointment with one of us in the University Career Center at least once a year. Students are welcome to schedule more than one appointment, but one-on-one appointment will make sure that we're helping them to be on track. What we love about the one-on-one appointments, they allow us to get to know your student, what their interests are, what their career questions are, and to be able to set actionable goals for them to achieve those career ideas. If they're not taking little steps along the way, it can seem very overwhelming and even more anxiety producing when they're kind of at a big point where they have to declare their major or they have to secure their summer plans or they have to know what they're doing after graduation. So if we can kind of ease into that throughout their 4 years, it will go much better. And so those one-on-one appointments allow us the chance to make sure students have goals and can be moving forward on them. All right, so first was activate the Handshake profile. Second, meet with a career advisor. The third way for students to be career ready is to make sure that they are attending every single one of the university career fairs. So in the University Career Center, we host 4 career fairs every year. There are 2 back-to-back days in the fall, usually in September, and then 2 back-to-back days in the spring. And the reason why we want students attending career fairs is because it gives them a chance to practice introducing themselves. I don't know if any of you have interviewed for jobs recently, but that first question you tend to get in the interview is something like, tell me about yourself. And so that is the golden interview opportunity. You have the chance to say why you're a good candidate for the kinds of things you're going for, exactly the way you want to be able to say that. And so we want to prepare students to be able to answer that tell me about yourself question, to be able to introduce themselves to people, whether they're talking to people in career fairs, at networking events, when they're home for the summer at family gatherings or friend gatherings. So career fairs are a chance to practice. So we want students attending every one of the career fairs for 30 minutes and talking to 5 organizations. And I guarantee that they're going to be a lot more confident after their 5th introduction of themselves, after that first career fair, their 10th after their 2nd, their 20th after their 4th, and it kind of goes up from there. So career fairs are an important way for students to practice and also to access that JMU Talent Network. Okay, so we are up to number 4. Not quite yet to number 4. These are the dates of the Fall University Career Fair. So Wednesday, September 28th, Thursday, September 29th. The fair goes from 11 to 3 and it's in festival. So 30 minutes, 5 organizations. You're committing this all to memory, right? All right, the University Career Center also partners with some other academic units on campus. So this next slide has some dates of some of those partner fairs that we've got going on. So the College of Integrated Science and Engineering has a career and internship fair in September. The Hart School has something going on in November. And then there are other smaller events. The dates for those may not be final yet. So students can check out their Handshake profile for the most accurate dates and times for those. All right, now are we on to 4? Woohoo! All right, so the 4th way for your student to be career ready, we want them connecting classes with careers. And so every class that students are taking at JMU, whether it's part of their general education requirement, their major, their minor, or electives, any of these classes is giving students knowledge, skills, and perspective that they can apply to whatever their career idea is. But it takes practice to be able to explain those connections well. So anytime you have the opportunity to ask students, maybe after the end of a big project, or they've just finished their midterms, or they're coming to the end of the semester, ask your students, so what did you learn in this class? And how does it make you a better candidate for whatever your career idea is? So just to give you a couple of examples of this in action, I was in a religion class, and so I asked the students, what their career idea is. I had a student, and her idea was to be a veterinarian. And so when I asked her how her religion class made her a good candidate to be a vet, she said, well, people have ideas of what happens to their pets when they die. And so understanding different religious traditions will help me serve the clients that I'll be working with. Another example, I had a history major graduated, and he went on to work for a mutual fund somewhere out in California. The mutual funds that his organization worked with were centered in Venezuela, and John had studied the history of Venezuela as part of his history major. So he was able to explain to his managing director, who did not have a history background, what historical factors in Venezuela were influencing the performance of those funds. So a great testament to students can do anything with the majors, but they have to be able to articulate the value that their academic background brings to the different jobs or internships they're considering. A couple of other examples. I was talking to the chief accounting officer of a credit union in DC, and he told me that his best hires in the anti-terrorism unit of the credit union were English majors, because they are good at recognizing patterns. So I was not an English major back in the day, so I probably wouldn't have thought anything about English majors and their ability to recognize patterns. But English majors who spend some classes studying this probably do recognize that. And so if they know that that's a skill they have, then they can talk about that to a potential employer. And so that's kind of, again, how they make use of their major and show how it is transferable. And then I think one more example of this, I always ask students when they meet with me, what's your favorite class? Because we want to get that same energy, that positive energy when students are talking about their favorite things coming out when they're interviewing for jobs or internships. So I had a finance student, and his favorite class was a history class. And in his history class, he wrote a paper on the economic system of ancient Persia. So there was a way that he was able to bring his career ideas into his history class. So another thing that we encourage students to do, if they have the opportunity to pick a paper topic or a group project theme, to pick it related to their career ideas. And that's the perfect way to bring their classes and their careers together. All right, so 1, activate Handshake. 2, schedule individual appointment. 3, go to every career fair for 30 minutes and talk to 5 organizations. 4, connect classes with careers. And the last one, we want students pursuing at least one internship or a career-related experience. So internships are what we tend to talk most about in the University Career Center, but other opportunities like community service or undergraduate research are also similar in the benefits that they provide. So internships give students a chance to try out a particular career field, to apply what they're learning in the classroom. It also gives them a chance to develop their own personal network of people who know about them and what their career ideas are. So the sooner that students begin building that network, the bigger the network is going to be, and the more helpful that network is going to be throughout the course of their entire lives, not just their time here at JMU. A couple of things about internships. There's some misconceptions that internships are unpaid, but we want your students pursuing paid internships. And in fact, about 85% of the internships in our Handshake system are paid. So I will have your students solemnly vow that they will not accept an unpaid internship without first looking for a paid internship. We want them in paid internships. The summer between students' first and second year here at JMU is also a good time for their first internship. It's not too early by any means, and sometimes an internship is the gateway to future internships. So we can help students find internships, whether they're looking in the Harrisonburg area, in Virginia, wherever they're from geographically. So we can help them find internships in their geographic location preferences and also in the industry or job function areas that they're interested in. We'll have workshops about that kind of thing and also one-on-one appointments for that. All right, well, those are the 5 ways for your students to be career ready. So hopefully you got those in your head. We'll be trying to get them in your students' heads too as they arrive on campus in August. One last note about what we do in the University Career Center is we track what students do within 6 months of graduating from JMU. So this slide shows some of the organizations that hire multiple of our graduates. And what I love about the list that you see in front of you is that there are all different kinds of organizations. So there are some large Fortune 500 kinds of organizations, some smaller regional organizations, smaller small business type organizations. So the opportunities that our students pursue are very diverse, just as our student body is very diverse. We want students pursuing jobs that are meaningful, that they feel proud about the contributions that they're going to make, and they feel successful that way. So working with the University Career Center staff all 4 years or however long they're here is going to help them get to that success once they graduate.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about supporting your student. I see there's some questions in the Q&A box. Feel free to, if you have some questions, you can add that in the Q&A chat, and hopefully we'll have time to answer those questions as well. At some point, students will struggle, and that's okay. And that's sort of what we're promoting here at JMU, as it is a part, normalizing that it's okay when your student struggles or has a challenge before them. That's just a part of growth. And I want to be clear, we don't want anyone at JMU to fail, no student to fail at JMU. And that's why they have, JMU has individuals like myself, Libby, and other members of our team, of our JMU community, who are here to serve and help your students to get through that time period where they struggle a little bit. We also know they're going to call you. They're going to call you and let you know, or text you if that's the case. So something to be aware of is how will they cope? How they cope with that struggle is an indicator of their success. Will they just internalize what's bothering them or that challenge that they have, or will they take the opportunity to work on fixing or trying to remedy the situation or challenge that they're facing at that time? So when they call you, they're going to call, and we encourage you to console them, listen to what they're saying, but then also encourage them to take action to help resolve the challenge or issue that they're having. So for example, if you hear them talking about, oh, well, you know, I'm having trouble, I can't find an internship. Oh, well, I remember Libby talking about the Career Center. Have you gone to the University Career Center yet to talk to someone about finding an internship? So the main thing here is we want to let you know that they're going to struggle, but we're going to be here to support them. We're asking you to support them too on your end with that. When they resolve that issue, what's going to happen is they're going to have a sense of empowerment. And that sense of empowerment is going to build confidence in them, knowing that, hey, if I encounter something again, I know what I need to do in order to overcome the next challenge that I have in the future and all. But the overall message is, we know that students are going to struggle at some point, but we will be here to support them. And we hope that you'll be there to support your student as well. And then we have an entire community here who's ready to mobilize and help your student to be successful. So from academic advisors, career advisors, orientation, to the groundskeepers, the dining hall service team, housekeeping, all here to help your student. One of the things I tell my advisees when I have them is that, you know, when I get a chance to talk to them, is like, look, just think about a famous singer. You might have Drake or Lady Gaga, Carlos Santana, who's a famous singer. They usually have an entourage. You have someone that's going to work on their makeup. They have a PR person, someone to hype the crowd up before they come on stage. And look at us as your students' entourage. So we're there to make sure their student can be the best student that they can and best person that they can, but they actually have to perform on the stage, right? No one ever says when they want to encore, they don't say, bring out the entourage, right? No, they want the singer to come out, the person that they came to see to come out and perform. But we will be behind the scenes, behind the stage, there to support your student as they are on their journey here through JMU as well. So keep that in mind. We do have a lot of people that's here to serve, to assist your student, but ultimately they will have to perform. They will have to be the ones to make that progress, but they're not doing it alone. And so you might be wondering, why are we talking to you today? Oftentimes students they're getting some of this information today, and then some of this information they'll get when they come back in August, when it becomes relevant, it becomes real because they are here, they're here now permanently, not permanently. So remember, you have to come and get them for fall break and winter break when it's time to go home. But we know that you will remember that information. So I think it's helpful to share it with you. So if they forget this information, or maybe it's, since you're a part of the journey, just being aware of some of the things that students need to be aware of will be helpful for them. And so here's just a couple of tips that Libby and I have. One, if they will check their JMU email daily, and I'm going to add something that someone told me yesterday, read their email as well. So not only just opening it up, but to actually read the JMU email daily, because that is the official means of communication with your student from the university. So encourage them to start practicing that now, or doing that now, so it becomes habit for them when they start here at JMU. Also, to reach out to their academic advisor if they need any help. If it's something that's confusing or they're not quite sure yet, reach out to the advisor. And then we're trying to foster an environment of resilience. So knowing that resilience doesn't mean you're doing it on your own. It means that you're going to be responsible. You're going to take action with the support of others who do care about you and want to make sure that you are successful at JMU. Libby, you have anything else you want to add?
Sure, just one last tip in terms of how to help your students get ready to be introducing themselves. Another of my questions when I meet with students, I'll say, what are 3 things that you're proud of? And so the reason I ask this question is because they tend to either reveal ways they have of doing things in the world or particular accomplishments. Either way, the things they are proud of are great things to be including in their elevator pitch. So sometimes people say, well, I'm really proud of the relationships that I've built. So they may be thinking about their new friend group here at JMU, but they've probably paid to relationships in more than just this point in time. So if they find that they pay attention to relationships, when they introduce themselves, they might introduce that as a theme that they have, and then give examples of how they pay attention to relationships, examples from their classes, from their clubs and organizations, from jobs or internships. Sometimes people say that getting into JMU is a goal they set and achieved. So this goal setting and achieving might be another of the themes of how they exist in the world. So if your son or daughter is a goal setter or achiever, they can introduce this as a theme when they're introducing themselves, using examples from their classes, clubs and organizations, jobs or internships. I also think students often have pastimes that have been a part of their world for a long time. Maybe they were an athlete or are an athlete, a musician, an artist, an actor. And so these things have also given them career-related skills that they know all too well. But those of us who weren't athletes, artists, musicians, actors, we don't know this unless people tell us. So a lot of times I find artists, musicians, actors are excellent at giving feedback and receiving feedback, which is an excellent line to supervision. And then one quick example, I had a sophomore who met with me, and he told me they had 6 years of management experience. And so I said, tell me more. So we talked about being a referee, and he said when he was a referee, you have to make sure that the rules of the field, the regulations of the field are met. You have to make sure that the players are safe. You talk to your fellow refs about how you're going to watch the game. You have all the fans and coaches to work with. And so when he told me what a referee did, I could see how it was management related. But if I had just seen referee on his resume and how many games he called in a season, I probably would have thought he just knew the game of football well. And that's what he knew. I would not have seen the management connections. But when he tells me these things, then I am able to see that. So we're trying to get students to be able to articulate the value of the things that they're proud of, the things that they like being involved in. And that's what we do in the University Career Center, is help people figure out what to talk about and to say it well.
Thank you, Libby. We also want to share just some of the resources that we have. I know there was a question about like study skills and resources in the Q&A. We do have a number of resources, just like any other university, but I think this university has some great resources to help your student along the way, and take advantage of these resources that are available. So if your student's looking for to get some tutoring in their particular subject, and tutoring has sometimes had a bad connotation, like in high school and middle school, but here it's actually a good thing. And what they'll see when they come to the Student Success Center is they'll see a lot of their colleagues studying on the first floor. It's a lot of people that are meeting together, studying, and it just becomes the norm for JMU. And hopefully they'll see, oh yeah, I got to study. No matter what, I need to study with that. So if they need a tutoring for their area, for their particular course, then the learning centers will offer tutoring sessions to the students. If you have a student who maybe struggles with managing their time, or maybe it's a new way of managing their time, also if they need some new study strategies, then they can go to the Learning Strategies and Instruction Office. Both the learning centers and the what we call LSI are located in the Student Success Center. We also have the Madison Advising Peers. These are students who know the curriculum, and they'll assist your students with information related to their curriculum. They can do a 2-year plan or 4-year plan with them, or answer general questions here. But this is just a snapshot. Of course, the Career Center, they're in the Student Success Center as well, the Rec Center, just a sample of those questions that are there. And so for today, just to get you started, is one, start empowering your students, letting them know that, hey, you're a part of their journey as well. And you have people that are part of the journey here at JMU that will assist them with that. Discuss and ask particular questions from them from here until they graduate, and encourage them to connect with their advisor and career advisor often, the Career Center often, and to support decisions that they make. You know, it may not be what you think, but it might be in the best interest for them. And so just being able to support their decisions as they embark on this journey as well. All right, I think we have, let's see, how many minutes? We have about one more minute here before we're done. And I saw there's some questions in here. I hope I'll answer the question about study tips and resources. They can get that there as well. Computers, it depends on the major, but most computers are accepted here at our university. So it should be fine. So no, you did not just inherit an iPad. There was questions about the dress for Libby.
Yep. So business casual, business professional, sometimes students will wear suits to career fairs. That's great if they have it. Nice khaki pants and a polo or a button-down shirt are also a-okay. We just don't want to see like holy jeans and athletic gear preferably. We do have a clothes closet on campus that some of it is housed in the Career Center, and other times it's pop-up events. So if students need business casual or business professional attire, they can come and get it from the clothes closet. That's a free benefit. We have people who donate clothes to the clothes closet, so that's an option.
Yeah. And then internship and CVPA?
So those are both good resources for internships in the performing arts, going through the College of Visual and Performing Arts, and the Career Center. Those are two good options. So I would encourage them to pursue both avenues. Maybe start with the Career Center. One of our career advisors is assigned to be a liaison with that college. And so she may know some good options.
Yeah. And then there was another question about did 20th Century McGee succeed? Is he happy there? I would say yes, I am 20th Century McGee, very happy. And it was helpful. It took a lot of people and support to help me get through that transition from being a first-year student to where I am today. All right, I want to thank everybody for attending this session. I appreciate that. There'll be another session, I believe, at 2:30 to attend. So make sure that you click on that link to attend that session. And I hope I get a chance to see everyone when you come here in August and bring your student here. And so we would love to meet you. So looking forward to seeing you in, a little over a month. Thank you.